Welcome to Talking in Stations. It is Matterall here with Rundle.
Hello, everyone. Rundle and Aeter. Welcome to my fellow New Eden pilots.
Nice to see you, Rundle. Also in the room today, we have Nick Bison, who's now a staff member. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing fine. Any questions to my candidacy, please relay them to my campaign manager, Rundle.
All right. Nick Bison, CSM 16. Vote early, vote often.
Also with us today is Adrian Denard, who is the editor of our newspaper for In-Game. Hello.
Good evening.
How are you? Okay, so we're going to have a little interview a little bit later with a surprise guest. I guess I could just tell you the name is Rhysio. Oh, where is it? Rhysio Typho. I think that's the name he goes by, but he has done an incredible thing. And I'm going to leave that as a little surprise. We'll talk to him in about, after the news. So we'll have him in a minute.
And this is going to be the news for Friday.
Date.
Today's Friday. Yeah, there we go. April 23rd.
23rd.
Today's Friday, April 23rd.
All right. Great to do this with a checklist, wouldn't it? All right. Well, let's go into
if only we had the technology.
Yeah. Let's go to that news. Let's go to that news bin, Rundle. What do we got?
All right. Well, so I think Adrian's going to talk a little bit about this, but I'll introduce it. There was a little get together with space friends in Solitude. Adrian, you want to go through that?
Absolutely. So in Solitude, the system is, forgive me if I mispronounce this, Aeter. There's a Corp Bear Club for men. They have an Athenor in the system. And so I Will End Your Whole fought No Forks Given around that structure. And they brought a lot of expensive toys. Revelation Dreadnoughts, Moros, Carriers, and quite a bit of it got destroyed. So we ended up with I Will End Your Whole lost like 247 billion in ships and equipment, and No Forks Given ended up losing 79 billion.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good price tag. That's like kissing one keep star's worth a nice big juicy keep star worth of ships in one fight.
Where's Aeterland? No, it's so I'm looking at
in
Solitude. Yeah, I'm
way
looking
up
at
in Solitude. Yeah.
But where on Solitude? I'll just have to search for it.
Aeter.
Oh, Aeter.
Aeter, yeah. It's in this little 3-section low sec, kind of down in the map I use in the southeast corner.
Ah, that's at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like by the looks of this, it had an NPC station in it. Oh, well, this is high sec.
Yes,
so I mean, this is Empire Space. So that station is actually an NPC station there. So it's still there. No wonder.
No, they fought over in Athenor though.
Right, but that's
what happened.
Right. But I was looking at the.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, well, that used to be a station, but it's not anymore. I'm wrong about that. All right, cool. Well, I think the notable stuff there is not only the amount that was destroyed, but also the names of the alliances. I love Bear Club for Men.
Yeah, that's a great, you should read it in one line, right? I Will End Your Whole fought No Forks Given over a Bear Club for Men Athenor.
Hey, you got to have a catchy name.
And a party was thrown afterwards. The after party was great.
Yeah. Sounds like one of those memory tricks, right?
Exactly. That's right. But still, that's a pretty pricey thing with industry changes coming. Like that's a lot of stuff to be gone off your account and out of your hands, knowing that it's going to cost 3 to 5 times that to replace it.
It was an interesting ship combination for not having like a lot of cheap support ships with it. You just whip out like 9 dreadnoughts by themselves.
Especially now. I mean, you want to hold on to those.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So from there, we'll talk with Ardaland here about a discussion out on one of the world's favorite websites. I can't bring myself to say it. I'm a little verklempt about it. But yeah, Reddit. Okay.
Not that Reddit is the best source of accurate information, but this had charts and stuff with it, so it seemed accurate. So we had the economic report come out for March, and people have been looking at it. They've been looking at the Excel files that come along with it, and these two players came to a pretty interesting conclusion regarding the consumer price index and the SPI chart. So when they were looking through these files, there's a big chunk of that that's basically dominated by information about Plex and Plex derivatives like pilot services. And the argument is that Plex can't be generated in-game, so it's more an indicator of things going on in the real world, like how much players are willing to spend on Plex. Whereas if you remove Plex from the equation, you will actually see we're having about 5 to 10% inflation of goods in game, basically from scarcity. I know I'm not even producing any Tech 1 stuff right now because ore prices are just obnoxious.
Yeah, it looks
so
like
are they saying that they should adjust the index to remove the Plex from it, or have a secondary index that just tracks the Plex for purposes of?
The one guy's point was that it needs to be based more on in-game generated things like ships, fittings, things in-game that are actually affected by what people are doing in-game and not Plex. So I'm not sure if he was saying that they should just remove Plex from the index entirely, or have a second index, or what exactly the fix would be.
Yeah, I think at the end he says, TLDR, Plex shouldn't be counted as part of CPI because you can't make it through gameplay. Plex got cheaper because there's less ISK faucet. This made CPI artificially low. Actually, it makes it more expensive these days.
The consumer price index is what he's saying is low, right? So
yeah, artificially
because shit
low
is expensive. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm just reiterating the words so it percolates through my brain. That makes sense. Okay.
Right. Ooh, look at that. Well, we'll take a good look at the MER Sunday after we study it. I haven't looked at it yet with other people. So we'll look at the MER. I know you covered it a little bit, Rundle, on what was that, Tuesday's show.
Yeah, it needs a good talking through, though. We didn't cover all of it, so to dice it up and slice it up would be quite beneficial for you doing it your standard way. I think the audience was actually. I think there was a couple of people in the audience who were like, "Wait, how come Matterall's not here slicing and dicing this thing up?" So
no, okay. If I look at it, what it's showing is if you were to take, and this is what this graph is, that blue line, that dark blue line at the bottom. If you were to take Plex out, that's what it would look like without Plex. And the adjusted CPI, I think adjusted for, let's see, consumer price index, adjusted CPI, let's see. Normal CPI, Plex CPI, adjusted CPI. All right, I don't get what normal is in here, but with Plex is the dark blue line, which means the CPI is a lot lower. And without adjusted CPI, without Plex, I guess is a lot higher. Wow. Trying to figure things out on air. Not a good idea.
He was confused because I guess they've been looking at this for months, and it kept holding steady, even though it seemed like prices were going up in game.
Right.
And then they kind of tried to take a closer look at it.
Well, one thing about Plex is it's not really. I mean, Plex. One of the things we tell people about Plex is that you don't think of it in terms of costing more or costing less. That it is really the link to the real world, because it's linked directly with purchasable items, and I think it's one of the few, if not the only, that it is a representation of labor strength inside the game compared to real world money. And so it's your gold standard. So when it is dropping in value, that means that your labor in the game, your time, your money, your objects are worth more against the gold, against the Plex. And we were in real trouble when Plex was really, really expensive, because that showed you that your labor in the game was just not worth anything. It was like you're crawling up a sand hill, not getting anywhere. Doesn't matter how much you mine, doesn't matter how much you build, doesn't matter any of that stuff, because buying Plex was always super expensive, which means everything you were doing in game, bad value. Now you can see that it's fallen from 4.6 per unit down to like, what are we at now?
2.1 something, 2.2.
That's lower than I've ever seen it. Ever seen it since it became 500 Plex per month. There was a time where it was unified into 1 Plex equals 1 month of game time. And they broke it up into 500 units so that it could be traded into the Plex store. And they removed the whole ARM currency that they had for that. And when they did that conversion, it immediately started growing really fast. And I haven't seen Plex at 2.1, I don't think, ever. Or maybe it started at 1.8, I think. So maybe but that was just for a few months. Anyway, the point is, now at 2.1, Plex has become very cheap, which means that, hey, stuff that I do in the game actually counts. So that's how you should look at Plex. It's not that Plex is expensive or inexpensive. It's just how valuable is your labor in the game.
Yep. I look at Plex more like with a tear in my eye, because I should have sold when it was 4.2. But, that's how I look at Plex. Through tear-ridden eyes.
1.1 to 1.2 billion per 30 days. Yeah, that's what it used to be. I think that's where it was. Thanks, Sarah Paticane. I remember that name. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Do we have more news? Let's see.
Yep. We got the starter packs, last 72-hour sale. So there's a number of starter packs. It's like bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, and you get various items with some Plex, oddly enough, in them, and some skill points and some skins and various ones. And it's you can buy one of these per account, and only one. And once you do that, it's done. They're on sale, 30% off. They're going to update with some new ones, and so if you buy these, it's not going to lock you out of the next set that's going to be coming. So if you want to spend some money, go do that.
Why is that important?
Which part?
That if you buy this, it won't lock you out of the next one.
Oh well, because they're going to refresh the starter packs coming up here next week probably. So they'll drop a whole new set of starter packs with maybe a new mix of whatever, maybe with some of the expert systems in them, stuff like that, to try to mix those into the game a little bit more and update what's the contents. And so if you, why it was important was, let's say there's a new set of skins, or you really want the starter pack. If you bought the bronze today in a week when they bring the new ones out, I really want the bronze, but you locked yourself out. But anyways, you're not going to do that. So these will, once you buy these, they'll be fine. Whatever drops will have a whole new set of triggers, and so your account will basically refresh with all the new starter packs when they come up again.
Right. And I think these were popular. Well, I heard these are not that popular, but they have experience in them, or actually skill points in them. So if you wanted to buy the pack, engulf the skill points, the refresh would allow you to do that again after this.
That's right.
So it's basically a way of getting some last minute experience buys in.
Yeah, it's the experience in the Plex that are probably going to interest most people. And at 30% off, I think I did the math a couple times. They're not a bad deal mixed all together. The skill points and the Plex and the individual items add up to more real money than the package. So you already got a little bit of a discount on the package. 30% off makes them even a little better deal now. but you have to be willing to sell the plex and use the skill points. But if you have a high skill point character, this just goes straight into your character, so you don't have to. There's no discount on them, right? So
yeah, I'm having trouble finding what's actually in these.
click View Details just to the right there. The little white button.
Thank
there you go. Yep.
So it's let's see, Plex skill points. So that is experience basically.
Yeah, and they're big now. It's 250,000, right? So if you go and buy all of them, I think you get.
Well, that's the bronze pack. Let's look at this.
Like a million.
Let's look at 62. Let's see what this one does. One of these is probably the sweet spot.
No, each one of those that have skill points is 250,000 skill points. It's the plex that goes up. This one's got 1,500 plex. So yeah. So if you were to buy all four, you'd have 1 million skill points, and I can't remember what the plex is. Probably just around 2,000 plex is what it is, and then some skins and some clothing and various things like that.
Right, and once again, I think that what I was trying to get to, you said it already, but is it actual skill points? Yeah, it is skill points. So
yes,
for high level characters, that's a good way.
It's not a skill point injector, right? So if you above that top tier on the injector, where you'd take a 500,000 skill point injector, would only give you 100,000. There's none of this. When you buy this, if you buy all four, it'd be a straight 1 million skill points you can put into your already high skill point character, and nothing's going to get shaved off the top.
Yeah, and then you could do it again if you wanted to a little bit later. So
that's right.
Okay, cool. So I've heard they're like closing that one out. They're not going to do that one again.
Yeah.
All right. Abyssal?
So the other thing in game, CCP driven, is the Abyssal Proving Grounds. That's I think we've talked about that a couple times. Just another reminder. It's the 2v2 Navy faction frigate Proving Grounds starting today through the 27th. You can go online and take a look at that. So good time to have the Navy faction frigates go poof just before the industry. I think that's a little. I don't know if that's just bad timing between the promotions crew and the gaming industry crew, but hey, why not? It should
always
be fun.
Yeah, those aren't.
Yeah, always tin foil, right? So that's CCP driven. In game by players, the Bombers Bar this weekend is hosting a 48-hour long Armada or flotilla from this Friday to Sunday. So a constant 48 hours, and they are saying that will be the longest constant running not pink shoot it fleet, NPSI fleet. So they're going to rotate FCs in and out, and they're going to need support and bombers to ensure they can accomplish that 48-hour mission. Apparently there's going to have some surprises the FCs will have along the way. And so it's going to be a fun way to try out some Black Ops bombing with Bombers Bar. So there's a Discord, and let me, I guess I'll put some information here, in-game channel, I'll throw it here in chat here.
All right, I will get that link there for Bombers Bar. You got it?
I do.
All right, thanks.
There we go.
So the last thing here is the Webby.
Yes, I forgot that.
What happened here?
Well, Project Discovery, I guess, was voted or is nominated, for voting for a Webby award. So if you're listening and you want to go and add your vote, I think Adrian was saying you had voted earlier and they were leading at this point, so we could.
Yeah, they have the link on the launcher, and I went in and voted this morning, and they were like way ahead for Project Discovery winning. So
let's have a look. I'm going to vote right now. So I hit vote now. Do I have to log in? Well, here it is.
Oh, right there. Yeah, just right there.
Hit
vote,
the right one.
I think.
Project Discovery. Vote.
Yeah, you have to sign up to vote, it looks like.
Oh, thwarted. All right. Well, I'll do that after the program.
Well, apparently the Webby is, according to New York Times, it's the internet's Internet's highest honor. It is presented by the International Academy of Digital Arts and Sciences, and it's one of the leading international award organizations honoring excellence in the internet. Anyways, you can go onto the CCP website and read all about why they were nominated with the Project Discovery.
It's the Oscars for
it's kind of
web.
like web-based Oscars. Yeah, Project Discovery's kind of been doing some neat things. It's kind of they've got a few different awards and mentions just because of the uniqueness of it and the crowdsourcing for higher use sort of activities. It's kind of a neat thing. So I'm gonna go sign up. Even if Matterall doesn't want to, I'm gonna go do it eventually here.
I want to. I just didn't want to put any personal.
It's easy. It's like one button click, and I was signed up. So
yeah, Dominark says what we said earlier from Mike, that the Project Discovery is in the lead. So
excellent.
Boom, Kuda. Thank you for the sub. We don't usually sing that song, but we'll sing it for you. Good to see you, Kuda.
All right, and of course, CSM's. People are getting ready to run their campaigns. You can start following that. Keep an eye out for various CSM people or CSM candidates who are going to be appearing on shows here and there, or popping up with their campaign stuff. Keep an eye out for that if that interests you. All across New Eden meta space, as well as maybe even in game, you might see some spamming and such.
You think?
You never know. There's people who like to throw things up in local. I wouldn't hold it against them.
CSM 16 EVE Online. If you search that, and here they are. Let's look at those dates, because there are people who may want to get involved there. So the 26th of April through the 12th is your submission period. So we're still in submission period right now. In fact, it hasn't even started.
It hasn't even started. I think what happened was they announced, here are the dates for the submission period, and people instantly started, I'm going to run, and started campaigning. I'm not even wait to the 26th of April.
Yeah. So what's interesting about CSM is that it is something that you probably need some name recognition, and or your people have to be told to vote for you. So somebody coming to the table without any preference is going to sit down and say, let me look through here. Here's a name I recognize, and here's a name I like. I'll probably vote for that person, as opposed to just a name, because these are all fictional names or whatever. So
right.
Otherwise, you get a list given to you by your CEO or something, and they say, here, vote for these guys. And then you're just like, okay, I don't want to think about it. I'm just going to vote for those guys. And that's kind of how CSM works. So name recognition, really important if you want miscellaneous votes. Oh, the third option is that you actually buy votes, which is totally legal. And there are people who have what are called skill farms. So there was a time where this didn't exist, but if you wanted to create an alt, train the alt, and then harvest the skill points that alt earned, you could actually make some money doing it. And sometimes it's lucrative, sometimes it's a money pit. But people do it, and in doing so, they create account after account after account after account. So some people have hundreds of accounts. I think one guy had 400, and there's people who have much more than that. But there's a lot of people that have like a 30-character farm or a 90-character farm, which is a lot of work for you to do, but that's a lot of income that you can make. And then you use those characters for auxiliary income, like planetary interaction and mining, that sort of thing. Some of them are sino-alts, whatever. You don't want to put too much investment into them, because that cuts into your profits. So these zombie farms, as they were called when they came out, or skill farms, they usually pay an additional dividend, additional harvest every year, and that is votes for CSM. So people will sell their votes to, they put themselves out on the market and say, hey, I've got 120 skill farming accounts, and I'm willing to vote for somebody. Here's my price for each one. So there's that.
All
right. Okay, anything else on CSM? If not, we'll move over to talk to our new friend, Rhysio.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing this. I want to hear the interview. I'm interested to hear what he's done.
All right. Well,
I'm pretending I don't already know, but it's so exciting. Let's do it.
We'll be back in 1 minute with our guest Rhysio. Okay, let me switch this off. No, I'm going to need that up. And let me grab him and drag him in. All right, we're starting in like 30 seconds, Rhysio. How are you? Can you give me a link to your... never mind, I'll get it here because I think I have it still. Yeah. The video is ready to be shown, you said?
It's ready.
Okay, cool. Let me pause it. We have 20 seconds remaining. Go into theater mode.
Chuckling, your version of 1 minute's kind of long.
Yeah, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. All right. That should complete the ad. Welcome back. Hey, I was just looking at, I caught a glimpse of myself on camera and I forgot to shave for like weeks. So I've got a full grown grizzly man beard going. And I kind of look like one of those characters in the game when I turn my head. It's all dark. That's a first for me. I don't think I've ever had a beard, so whatever. Okay, so this segment we want to talk to somebody who's done something that's incredibly difficult to do and takes a long time. Actually, this ran off without me. And that is traveling around EVE Online. We were introduced to this concept by Katya Say, who did it over a period of years. Started in 2000, I believe, 9. Took a break like 2013, 14. Took a couple years off. I think started again. And our next guest, Rhysio Typho, is actually a new player and has managed to accomplish the same thing. And that is travel to every system in New Eden. Let's have a look at what that looks like, just so you can appreciate it.
You can also scroll at the end of the video.
Yeah, so you guys know what the map looks like. And do you know offhand, Rhysio, how many known systems there are? Is it like 5,000 or 4,000?
I have the website of Katya open, and it says 2,600 for wormholes and 5,201 known space.
That was my guess. I was going to guess 5,300. So 5,200 known systems, and then an additional, like I believe, 2,000 wormholes that are invisible to you and me. You can't travel to them. You have to scan them down. That is a lot of traveling. And Rhysio, like Katya, joins a really exclusive group. Only 2 people in EVE Online have ever done this. So how are you doing, Rhysio Typho? It's nice to meet you.
Hello. I'm not entirely sure what to say, but I only know one person who visited more systems, because I have not yet the chance to get to Polaris.
Yeah. All right. So tell me when your voyage started.
Well, I started playing around 2015, and when I heard the story of Katya, I looked at the map of systems I already visited, and then I thought, that already looks pretty filled. Let's see what systems are missing. So I really slowly finished off known space. That took a while, and mostly in 2020 I started running around wormhole space and searching for the remaining couple thousand wormholes at that time.
Yeah, it says here you jumped 69 jumps a day on average.
Yeah, on average. But it's likely even a bit more than that.
One thing that's different, I don't know if it's different, but Katya Say, we should say, did this and didn't die. So this was like her full focus. She took her time doing it. And that was an incredible like topping on her ice cream or whatever. It was like, it was not only something incredible, but it was something under incredible accuracy, let's say. but it took a long, long time. Did you do this without dying?
I died more than a couple times along the way because, in the first couple of years I was just doing normal gameplay with PvP and stuff, and I died also more than a couple times.
Mm-hmm. So you were just traveling like crazy, and so you were going into systems more than one time, it sounds like.
Yes.
Right. So when did you decide, hey, I move around a lot, I should probably try to go to all the systems I haven't been to?
I said, actually, a couple of days after the Katya finished her journey, you can see pretty clearly that I moved my pattern, how I move around. And you can clearly see that day I started finishing off the last couple systems which have not been visited yet.
I see. So you started going around.
Where was the most challenging area, like when you first started and you're like, okay, I'm really going to do this? Was there an area that was challenging then, or maybe, and did it get easier as you went on, or was there one area that was like, oh my god, just didn't matter when I did it, it was difficult?
Well, towards the end I was still missing a handful of systems in Delph, and at the time Delph was already burning. And that was a bit stressful because there was also a no cloaky storm, so I couldn't even cloak.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's right, the electrical storms. I was in those storms. It's an easy way to get killed. So I interrupted you. Go ahead.
And still managed to get in and out of there without dying.
So how did you do that? Was that a sub 2 second warp interceptor and just map out your route, and today this is what I'm doing, and if I die I'll try it tomorrow, sort of thing?
Well, towards the end I think in the last 2 years I only lost one ship, so that wasn't too bad. And I'm using an insta-warping Aeter, which after you know your ship, it's really hard to catch.
So you have on this video, which is really cool because it looks like a nerve center under a microscope, but you're lighting up your path as you go. And you're also putting in milestones of what's happening in Eve, in the greater Eve on here too. That's what those little comments are at the bottom. So here it is, Katya finishes her journey. So this is when you decide, you've already traveled this whole area and you're like, hey, I think I can do this too. Let me get going. And you become very deliberate.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was 2019. On the right-hand side, you see the wormhole space. So you've been traveling through wormholes this whole time. You've just been moving around like crazy.
Yeah, exploration everywhere is kind of fun.
Yeah. Did Blackout help you? Because it looks like you just went through Blackout.
Well, Blackout, at the time was too active in nullsec, but I prefer to see what people are with me in system.
Rare gold magnet changes owner for 1 million plex. Remember we did a show on that, and that was Keldon, I think, who had sold that. Well, this is really cool because it maps up against the last few years, and it looks like when you're doing this, there's different parts of the map that are lighting up. So you're clearly using wormholes to get to different areas.
Yes. And now since the filaments are out, I also use filaments to get me into nullsec at times.
Yeah. And Raravas reaches full liminality as first system. Now this is interesting because you needed to finish this, I think, before Poshvin was created, because it would have knocked those holes into a harder place to get to.
Yeah, a couple weeks before it happened, I thought maybe it's better if I just peek in there once so that it's finished off.
So anything with a full liminality, you went and visited that right away just to get it off the check it off the list?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of the final systems.
And now we see Poshvin is formed. So now those systems are out, but you've probably taken care of most of those. Look at that. After Poshvin is formed, you take on all kinds of... you're really making sure you're hitting everything now. It looks like you have heavy traveling days here in this year, actually, in January.
And now you can see on the left side, there's now wormhole marked with a green star, and that is actually the last wormhole I visited. And it's actually quite interesting because on the last day, on the 30th December, I not only visited the last system, but also the second last wormhole, which was really nice.
That was wild.
Well done. Well done. That's fantastic.
There's music on that one.
Yes, there's music on it.
Yeah, it's a better viewing experience. We went through it real time, but it's a 6-minute, 20-second video. Let me actually post that to... We'll put it on show notes as well.
So while you're doing that, McBeggar from the audience asks, were you doing any relic sites or anything like that along the way, or was it just the travel? Oh, you really were? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, look, there's some like a squirrel.
Exactly.
Well, it's like I found change on the floor as I'm coming through this this place. But I think that's interesting. It seems like you were, and I don't know if Katya was doing this, but you're actually playing the content as you're going through some of these places, and I think that's unusual.
Were there any items that of interest where you're like, you know what? I've always wanted to buy that BP or one of those items. Name some of those things. Like I'm finally going through that system. I'm going to buy it. Was there anything like that?
Yes.
Talk about
that. Well, one time I was playing around how to get the fastest ship, and for that, in the ship simulation, I just needed a bit more power grid, I think, and then I thought, that offers a module that has exactly what I need. So I bought it for way too many billions.
So, again, we're looking at that. Your averages are 69 jumps per day, but obviously some days you weren't trying to jump. I think what I want to understand is, are you somebody that just moved around a lot and then thought, hey, I could turn this into something? Or did you?
Yep. So
you just, when you play a lot and you move around a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And second, I can actually tell you how many jumps I did the most on one day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is, how many jumps did you jump in one day? 69 jumps a day was his average. That's not... Yeah, Katya did do all the wormholes too.
And on one day I made even 499 jumps.
499? What?
Yes.
Why didn't you jump once more? Did the stroke of midnight stop you? That's a lot of jumps.
Well, that was back in October 2015, so that's quite a bit of a while ago.
Man, when it's time for bed, it's time for bed, though. Screw that last jump.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was not keeping track of that. I was just having it looking in the background.
So that was just you playing the game, 499 jumps in a day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
499.
Hilarious.
I mean, I panic when I got to go over more than 40 jumps to do something. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll just wait. I'll do it some other time. 499.
Nick, what do you think, Nick?
I don't know. When I got to go more than 20 jumps, I hire somebody. True lazy industrialist.
Yeah, 499. Wow. That was a big session for you.
So this year, the most jumps I did per day this year was 348. I went around, started in Gemini and then went on from there.
Say that again. That's 300.
348
jumps in what period of time?
One day.
Oh, I say that
was this year, right?
Lately, yeah.
Yes, that's this year.
Oh my God,
that's amazing. I mean, I was joking earlier, well, half joking. I mean, I moved from Tribute to Impasse and moved subcaps, gate to gate. And that was horrific. And I think that was maybe 57 jumps. I can't imagine 69 average day after day.
Well,
That's like, what, 10 hours of jumping if you do like 400?
A lot. I can actually check that, but that will take a while.
No.
Yeah. So, is there any estimate of cost, like in terms of, I don't even know, like
Sanity.
Yes. I mean, you didn't lose many ships, but I'm just wondering, or maybe the other way around is maybe it didn't cost you a lot. But do you have any idea of how much you made doing the relics and along the way? I guess that's just an overall general, but or did you find, I guess, very unique stuff by being in other areas of the solar system or the universe that maybe others don't get to? Yes, there's got to be a financial component to this somewhere. And I'm just wondering.
He was exploring, I think. But go ahead.
Yeah.
And the most memorable was actually doing drone sites, data sites in the drone regions, because there you can find augmented drone BPCs. And when you get an 61 augmented drone BPCs for the heavy drones or something, they cost really a lot. And that was like a couple billion.
Oh, nice payday.
Nice.
I also found when the capital ancillary shield repair were really expensive, like I think 300 million per one. I also found a 10-1 BPC of them in the drone regions, which was also really nice.
McBeggar, nice. Speaking of loot that you picked up, McBeggar wants to know if you documented your loot.
Sadly not. That would have been interesting, but sadly not.
Yeah. He also pointed out earlier that stopping to do relics along the way is time consuming. So, again, I think I have to emphasize that you're doing this in exploration, but you're actually participating with the environment. You're not just passing through these systems. I guess until you figure out like, hey, I could do this too, and then you probably become more deliberate about just marking it and going to the next system.
Yeah, especially in the wormholes, I just jumped and jumped and jumped.
Yeah. Oh, because you have to track those down, and it's like trading cards. You have to just keep buying pack after pack after pack until you get the one rare card, I suppose.
Yeah, and in the wormholes, especially in the first couple of weeks, I found like 10 new wormholes a day.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, it was slowing down, and eventually in November or something, I only got 1 or 2 new wormholes per day, and that got quite stressful at the end because I needed like hundreds of jump to find a new one.
Oh my god, that's so rough.
Ouch.
That's so rough to think about. I hadn't considered that. So what was it like being in the war zone too? Was that interesting to you?
Well, for me, it wasn't too different because when I was exploring, you're always neutral in that region. And I usually try to avoid the most busy systems, but sometimes you just run into camps and then you are stuck 10 minutes at the same gate and trying to get out.
Yikes. So you got both sides shooting at you as you're trying to just move around in there.
Yep.
And plus you have electrical storms to deal with, which don't let you cloak because you're in a Astero, I take it.
Yeah, I usually I keep distance to them nowadays, if I can.
You keep distance from them?
Yeah.
You mean you won't fly in a Astero?
I prefer to be cloaked.
Yeah. I see. Wow. Keep going.
And one day I was jumping into a gate camp, and there was already a saber waiting and a whole bunch of other dudes. And I jumped back, and they already set up bubbles on both sides, so I was stuck there. And when there are 5+ people on each side, then you can't that easily align out and cloak up, because when they decloak you have a problem. So I was crashing the gate until I spawned just outside the bubble and then warped off. It was
you got away from that? Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Wow. So crashing the gate is turning around and going through it again So every time, it's like rolling the dice. You jump through, you realize you're in trouble, you start running towards the gate. Hopefully they don't kill you before you get there. And so you kept going back and forth. That's amazing.
It was for 10 minutes, so it was...
Crashing the gate for 10 minutes. That's hilarious.
Wow.
Oh.
So what? I'm curious on how often you had to interact with other players. Did any diplomacy play a role in this? Talk your way out. So you certainly mastered the gate crashing way of avoiding conflict. But did you have to talk your way out of some stuff, or hey, I'm just here to do this thing, or anything like that with player interaction? Or how solo was that? I guess that's the other side of the coin.
Well, I started convos with people here and there, not rarely, but I didn't really ask to get out again. So
still, for the most part, quite more or less solo. Didn't need any help from anyone. Didn't ask for, hey, have you got the wormhole scanned yet? Could you lead me to them or anything like that? That's amazing. Well done.
Well, towards the end, for the last 20 wormholes, I started looking at that keyword if somebody was active in that system, and that was helped a bit to find the last couple of wormholes.
That's a neat. That's a good way to try to find those last ones. If anyone else is ever going to try this, Valamir has a really good. Yeah, well, Valamir has a good question. How did you actually track what systems you had and had not been to? What's some of the back end mechanics of how you managed all this?
The local is also tracked in the in which system you are is also tracked in the local chat channel, and the local chat channel can be logged through the disk. And so I have hundreds of megabytes of local chat logs, which I wrote a program for to see what systems I have visited.
And did you cross-reference that with the in-game map where
thankfully, CCP has also the static data export, and I wrote a small program which picks out what systems I have been.
Okay, so a little bit of preparation on your end as well to pull all that off. Excellent.
Yeah, but sadly, before 2018, the information for the wormholes was not logged. So for that time, before that I already made a lot of bookmarks, and so I looked, do I have a bookmark in that system? Yes, no, and that makes it a lot easier.
Makes sense.
Sorry, I lost down sound there for a second as I accidentally jumped out of the channel and then had to reset it up. But I think we caught what you were saying. Okay. Rhysio, you're from Brave, it looks like here.
Yes, I'm doing a bit of PvP on my other accounts with there.
That must have made the last few systems in Delve extra exciting if you were in Brave.
But thankfully didn't run into a gate camp there at that time. That was nice.
Excellent.
While you were doing this, did your stuff get burned up in legacy space, or did you move it?
Well, all my assets were... I keep all my assets which I have in nullsec movable, so that's not a problem for me.
Yeah. How many hours do you play the game per day when you were doing this stuff?
Too long.
Okay, won't answer that. Yeah, it sounds like you put a lot of time into the game.
Yeah, but last year this helped me to keep a bit of sanity.
Yeah, for all of us, right? This is there's a lot of connection inside of EVE Online that you couldn't get in real life. So,
yep.
But my God, what an amazing accomplishment. Only the second person to do this sort of thing. And you did it differently, which is nice. You had your own style for doing it.
Yep, and I visited the last wormhole on the 30th December, and then I sent in a ticket to CCP to ask, hey guys, did I really do that? But I'm sadly still awaiting a response because, it's a one-of-a-kind request almost.
Yeah, come on, CCP. But it must take some time to like track it all down and figure it out, confirm it, make sure it's real. So you're waiting for the official stamp from them, and you finished in December.
Yes, and while I was waiting for the confirmation, which still awaiting, then I thought, what can I do till that happens? So I looked at the map again and saw the lines between the star systems. And I thought, I wonder how many of these I have jumped already. So I also wrote a program which lists which gates I have jumped, and then I went on and jumping the remaining ones.
Wait, did you say you wrote a program that recorded the gates you jumped through?
Yes.
Oh, wild.
So then you completed that you've also jumped through every gate as well as visiting every system.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
wow. That might be a first.
Yeah. And so that's what you were doing in the end, and that's what was happening in Delve when you went and jumped those gates. Is that what took you to Delve? Okay, that's why you were like, you couldn't cheat. You had to go through the gates. That's an incredible addition to I visited every system. By the way, I have also used every gate in the game. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like double down on the awesomeness.
Yeah, it's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. That's why you were able to escape a gate camp by crashing the gate over and over again. You know these gates forward and backwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow, right. So
amazing.
And nowadays, when I see a single saber at the gate, it's really easy to get away from a single saber.
Just laugh. Nice.
I'm going to hang out with you when I'm traveling.
A single saber? Is that all you got? Is that all you got?
I'll wait for you and your friends to get here because I'm a little more difficult to catch than one saber's worth.
Exactly.
Rhysio, do you have any... what would you say to other players from your unique experience of traveling so much and knowing each gate even as well as you do? Is there something that you could tell us that other people wouldn't know because they just don't jump as much as you do? Does the world look different from your perspective after traveling it so much?
Well, it's initially I also jumped around a bit to make tacticals at Bookmarks, and when you have a tactical at each gate, which you often use, that is invaluable.
Is there a limit to bookmarks these days?
Technically, yes, but I currently have, let me see.
Yeah, how many? The man with the most amount of bookmarks. Drum roll, please.
I have 3 folders with 5,908, and then another 4 folders with... Well, it's a lot of systems, so you sadly can only have 5 folders online at the same time, and each folder is itself limited to 3,000 bookmarks. So you can have 15,000 bookmarks online at once. So that's a slight limitation.
Slight limitation.
Slight limitation if you're the type of guy, if you're the type of guy that likes to visit every system and jump through every gate and have a tactical in every gate, then Eve just isn't set up for you. I need more than 15,000.
Yes, and
that's
for
great.
wormhole space, I have 2 folders with 4,500 bookmarks as saves.
Okay.
Then I have a folder for nullsec with 3,000 saves.
My God.
Now I need to add other ones.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think you may have given CCP an impossible task to track down everywhere you've gone. All right. And was there a favorite region of space that you liked for whatever reason?
I kinda like the Serpentis nullsec or Galente nullsec because I'm Galente for the win.
Galente for the win.
Role
Nice.
player. So Serpentis NPC space is in Fountain.
found an Outer Wing syndicate and around there, but it's a bit busy, not really. So I'm also currently I'm running around mostly MR, high-sec, low-sec, and around there.
So what are you doing now? Are you still revisiting gates that you might not have jumped through, or?
Well, currently I'm just running around Empire space looking for tasty relic and data sites.
So back to exploring.
For all those new industry elements, right?
Yes, there are many.
So X475X has a really funny statement, but there's a question. I'll read his comment there. He says, maybe the reason CCP isn't getting back to you is because your statue in the game is currently being constructed.
I hope so.
I think that's rather funny. So here's the question, though. If they were to make a statue for you and you had a little input, what would it be? You standing on top of a gate holding the EVE universe in your hand, or something as grandiose as that? Or how would you maybe...
And where you want it.
I think we already figured out where he would put it. Galante space, of course, somewhere.
Well, Aether the first system I visited or the last system. I'm not sure which place would be better.
By the way, do you know what your first and last system were?
The last system is Matsu, and the first one is a system I can barely pronounce.
Oh, sounds right. I feel your pain. Did you say Matsu was your last system?
Yes.
Look up that. I'll see where you ended your trip. Oh, I think it's already open here. Matsu. It's MOTSU, I think, right? Citadel.
In the Citadel.
Basically,
Yeah,
downtown. Why
yeah,
did you
it shows.
Why did
Well, after the time I was on the lookout for the last system which I can use, and I first planned to leave out 2 systems in Galente space, but then one day I made a slight mistake and jumped into these systems, and I thought, damn it.
I gotta go back for Matsu. I bet you did this. I bet you came up here, you came up to Ochia, you went to La, and you skipped Matsu and then took off. And then
I actually avoided the entire pocket, so that only for the last couple days I actually went into that pocket.
That is so funny. Dang it. I forgot that system in downtown after traveling, after all the things you've seen. Well, you know what's sweet about this, and we'll end the conversation here. You started out as an explorer doing some things. You went on this massive adventure. Then you compounded that by making sure that you approached each system at every angle, going through each gate. And then after all that, thousands and thousands of jumps, tens of thousands of bookmarks, you went right back to exploring.
Yeah, jumping around in the minigame is kind of relaxing for me. So.
Wow.
So do you dream of jumping now, or whatever the jump gate?
I thought you were going to say electric.
Over and over again.
I thought you were going to say electric. Do you dream of electric sheep because he's an android? Because
yeah,
I was thinking he's hearing warp drive active in his sleep now.
Warp drive active.
Yeah.
Warp gate. Yeah.
Any last thoughts there, Rhysio?
Well, if you want to do it, it's kind of fun. At least it's a start. It gets slightly when you jump 100 system and don't find a new one, it's kind of stressful at the end.
Yeah. You sound like you're from Europe. What is it late over there? I mean, are you from Europe, first of all?
Yes, I'm from Germany.
Germany. So it's like 2 a.m. your time or something.
3 a.m. actually.
3 a.m.? Oh my God. We probably should have arranged this at a better time for you, right?
Oh, you sound wide awake. You could probably probably make a couple hundred more jumps right now before he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
One final question from the audience, because I think it's a really good question. Were you able to make it into the AT systems?
Well, there's no gate to there, and no wormhole leads there, and no filaments or nothing, so not yet.
Not yet, okay.
It's impossible.
CCP would have to pull you in there, of course. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Just wondering if you had a chance to have that. So, all right, CCP, if you're listening, he needs one more system. One more system.
Well, Rhysio, super nice to meet you and talk with you. We've been talking for a few weeks now because you were trying to get certification, and then we could bring you on to the show. You did finish your video, which is why we decided to show that today. You finished that recently. But
yeah, just a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So good for you doing that. I really like the idea of the milestones too, to help people conceptualize what's going on in the game as you're traveling and going through these systems. What you've done is an amazing accomplishment. Again, there's a reason only 2 people have ever done it in EVE Online, and an 18-year-old game. So amazing. So again, pleasure to meet you. We're going to talk about you more in the future. Hopefully there's some kind of recognition from CCP that you've traveled all these systems and all these gates too. Okay. Now you can finally sleep.
Sleep is for the week.
Sleep. All right. Sleep for the week. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. I want to thank our guest Rhysio, but also want to thank Nick and Rundle. And of course, before that, we have Aeter here, our newspaper editor. Thanks, guys. You have anything else, Rundle?
Nope. It's weekend, so get out there and enjoy, times with your space friends. There's some things going on with CCP. There's lots of things to just enjoy. Maybe start your adventure jumping around every system and every gate today. Why wait?
Yeah. All right. And Sunday we'll be back. We're going to review the week, and we will talk about the 2 keep stars that went down today. We didn't get a chance to talk about those. We'll save that for the weekend because we want to do an overall war report. What's happening in EVE Online right now, as you know, is a big war. There's a milestone that's been reached, which is essentially that all the keep stars outside of the Delve constellation have been destroyed. And there is one more keep star that needs to be destroyed in order for that to be completely true, and that's going to be happening on Sunday or Monday. So we'll see. There's going to be also this weekend. I think Pappy are going to make a bunch of announcements to their players because there is a transitioning happening. It's happening right now, actually. So maybe we'll have some special footage this weekend on Saturday. But the Pappy forces have begun to take on the constellation of 1DQ. So that's already beginning, even though there's still one more keep star that needs to be destroyed outside of the constellation. We're in transition to the siege of 1DQ right now. And it's going to be interesting. So this weekend, there'll be a big status briefing for all of the Pappy forces. I don't know what the Imperium is going to do. They may totally ignore that there's a transition, that we're moving into the siege phase. Or maybe they do have some kind of the usual fireside that they have, and they may talk about it there. So lots of war news. We'll cover that on Sunday. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. We will see you next time on Talking in Stations.